Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got the CEO of Rocketeer Group, Richard Wood. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Sonya. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you?
Yep, very good, thank you.
Now, Richard, what is the Rocketeer Group and why did it start?
So, Rocketeer Group are expert consultants in business growth and how you might use AI on that business growth journey. That's pretty much what we focus on. We got started because there was a need to understand the development of technology probably, 8-9 years ago around blogging and vlogging and internet marketing, and I kind of wondered if that was all legal or dodgy. So I decided to look into it, and I could see that there was some real good business opportunities in these developing areas. So at the time I wrote a little course, had this course ready, and then I ran out of cash. As entrepreneurs often do, and had a chance meeting with a lady who was a director at Drake Hall Women's Prison. And we got chatting, and she said it'd be great if we could educate some of our prisoners on this knowledge. So that was kind of how we started, really. And then we ended up working with the MOJ for quite a number of years, and probably only the last 18 months we've started to look at how we can take our expertise around consultancy and business education and start to work more with business owners on their own growth strategies.
And you just mentioned there as well, entrepreneurs and, your journey as well. I'd just like you to as well, briefly, if you can, just to explain how you got to be where you are now on your journey. Okay,
that's interesting. So I'm not a spring chicken anymore, so I've got to go back a few more years than some of you younger audience members maybe. Okay, so education's my background. So I've got a lot of project management skills. And I remember once I was a head teacher at a private school, and I was approached if I wanted to actually become a movie producer, which sounds surreal, and it was at the time. And the private school I was at was not where I lived, so it was getting awkward to keep travelling there. So I said, do you know what, let's give it a go, because of the transferable skills really of going from teaching into producing, which is very much problem solving, planning, organising. And ironically, being in this area, that movie position was funded by Peter Coates of Bet365. So that was very interesting. We had a movie studio funded by Peter, and it was exciting. I got to travel the world. Wow. We actually created an award-winning local film. We also went to Cannes Film Festival with a film. I got to go to to New Zealand, Weta Studios, which was fascinating, and we went to the LA Film Festival. And it sounds great, but it was such a juxtaposition of going from a caring profession in teaching to, if it's okay for me to not be too contentious, quite a egocentric kind of world of, look at me, I'm in the movies. So it was just a bit of a shock for me really, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But it was when I was in the States that I heard about this digital technology. I heard about all of this new developments around opportunities online, which is how that led to me coming back, opening up my laptop and started to learn about the vlogging and the internet marketing I mentioned earlier.
And what year was that, roughly?
About 2013, 2014 was when I took the plunge and thought, do you know what? It's time for me to see if I can help people with some business ideas around what I'd found out.
And how do you go? I have to ask, how do you go from that transition then, education, being in the movie industry, to coming back, obviously started with an interest and a passion, but then turning that into a successful business?
So I think it was the fact that I was meeting all these people in prison. I was getting challenged a lot around my thoughts and knowledge around business. And of course, the business element there was that I was winning these contracts with the MOJ, getting paid, so the revenue's coming in. Then I had to work out how much it was costing me to deliver these education programs. That meant I could start to work out what my profits were, and I could see that this was an opportunity. So it was that kind of dual furnace of I needed to make money and to grow, because this was my new pathway, aligned with being challenged by some really, really intelligent people inside prison, some great students there who, something had maybe gone wrong for some of them. They made a mistake. We've all made mistakes. And, genuinely they're wanting to work out what they could do when they're back in the community. So that was a really, really enjoyable time, and where I cut my teeth really on being a business owner.
Wow. Sounds very interesting, very intriguing, and also very exciting. Now, AI then. So you mentioned you started to look, first of all, into the likes of vlogging, online, internet, all different things, different content that was being produced online when you first started. But how have you seen then, and from what you've learned and developed, how AI is actually not only, again, boomed, should I say, recently, but also how it can be quite a bit of a benefit as well to business growth?
So it can help businesses because of the efficiency, really. I think that's one of the big things that AI brings. In business, often when we're buying something, whether it's a product or a service, the faster we can get it, oftentimes that's better for everybody. A great example is Blockbuster and Netflix. If you remember when you used to go and get your videos and queue up for them, choose them, walk home in the rain with them, watch it, and then, oh my gosh, I need to get it back within 2 days or I'm going to get fined. And then Netflix comes along and you can just watch it now.
Yeah.
So it's that very much that same impact for businesses. Is AI is a tool. It can be combined into a system, and it's about efficiency. So whether that's efficiency inside the business model, like Netflix, it's now digitally delivered, or whether it's actually being used around the workings of a business. And what I mean by that is things like, how are we now creating content and marketing? How are we turning those leads into sales? That can now all be automated. A good friend of mine, that I've known for a good 8-9 years, was from education. He now is the chairman and CEO of an education business. And only last year they spent £300,000 on marketing and advertising. This year they're projected to spend 30. So that's £270,000 that's now hit their bottom line back into their profits, because their marketing manager is now upskilled into AI capability. So because of that leverage, you've been able to do much more, much quicker. It now means that, as business owners, you could start to think, how can I use this and reinvest the extra money or the time that I've saved?
And I'm just going to ask you there, rightly or wrongly, I can understand where you're coming from in that, and how it can save on costs with the efficiency of AI. Does that, though, could it have a bit of a negative impact? Does it take away any quality?
In terms of quality, one thing that you need to remember with AI is that it's underpinned with digital. So I don't know if you've ever come across Moore's law. Have you ever heard of that?
Not really.
So Moore's law was a concept that this guy called Moore found, which is in standard software and computer programming. They found this connection between, as technology was increasing and doubling its capability and power, at the same time, it was halving in cost to create it. So they'd found this pattern, and they tracked it, and they thought it would stop after a few years, and it didn't. It carried on. So with Moore's law, every 24 months, you are getting, as I say, doubling capability and halving of cost. That same principle fits with AI, except what the experts are finding is that turnaround time is now just 7 months. So when you talk about quality now, it is what it is today, but you need to remember what's coming because of the fast turnaround and the increase in capability. It's only going to get better and better and better. There was a famous video actually on YouTube with Will Smith. I don't know if you ever came across this. And they asked a piece of AI software to create a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Right. So the first one they did looks ridiculous. It's funny. There were a lot of people laughing at it. Content creators, videographers, experts going, that's ridiculous. And if you look at the second version, which was done maybe 12 months later, you can't tell it's not Will Smith. You can't tell it's a fake. So that's the thing to remember about quality, is it's as poor today as it's ever going to be. And I think that's important to remember.
What about other industry sectors? How do you see AI fitting in with other industries?
So it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I mean, AI is a branch. Well, there's a branch of AI called machine learning. You've got deep learning. There's all these different aspects of it. And basically what AI is, the most simplest way to describe it, is it's a human computer system trying to mimic. Sorry, it's a computer system trying to mimic human capability. That's what AI means. Facebook, back in the early days, was using AI, so we've been using it for a long time. I came across an interesting one in farming, where these very techie clever people had recognised, talking to farmers, that there was an issue around the pesticides and herbicides that were being used on their fields. There was a lot of wastage because it was spraying all the crops and not just the weeds. So they collected some data. They taught this AI what a weed was by giving it lots of information, showing it lots of pictures. And then they attached cameras to a tractor. And then as this tractor pulling this piece of machinery was going over and spraying, it would now only spray a weed.
Right.
So that was so clever because it was like a 90% reduction in the use of the pesticides. There was less of it filtering down into the streams and the rivers. Huge savings for the farmers on the cost of the pesticides. And yes, of course, then you've still got the fee to buying the technology. That concept and idea was sold for 300 million, pretty sure that was the figure, to, I think it's Myers, an American huge agricultural company. And then, there's a couple more, because I know a lot of people listening will be aware of ChatGPT, they'll be aware of Gemini. That's called Gen AI, generative AI. They call them large language models. Right. A lot of people know that, but that's only one type of AI. You've got diagnostic AI, you've got predictive AI, as well as generative AI. And in the diagnostic AI space, there's a lot of AI being used in healthcare and medicine, using AI to search for tumours. I think that recently there was an AI that was tested against doctors, and the AI spotted more of the illness that they were looking for than the actual doctors did. So obviously it's not that AI is better than a doctor, but it's just saying there is a space across many of the things we do in our lives for this technology to be really helpful.
And what if if there's a small business out there listening, they're not very big, they're a small business and they're looking to be more efficient, they don't really know about AI, they've never used AI, where would they start, and how, again, can they benefit from it?
Yeah, that's another great question. What I would say is don't be afraid of it, embrace it, use it, even if it's just using the Gen AI stuff to begin with and asking questions. If you are a small business owner, you might have a little tech package, like we use Google, and Gemini comes in that package. And a lot of these tech firms are now trying to develop this technology and this AI into the packages. So you might find, if you're a Microsoft user, I think theirs is called Copilot, and then at Google you've got Gemini. So just get hands-on and start using it yourself, because now I've got a keynote speech that I'm doing next week at Birmingham Newman University. So I've been researching this little bit, and I don't mind just throwing this out there now for your listeners. Everyone's got a to-do list. How about we have a not to-do list?
I like that.
And the idea with that is that you can now start using AI and ChatGPT and Gemini to do the things that you might have done before. So it could be, when you've prepared for this talk with me today, you might have done some research. In fact, I know you did, because you mentioned something before about it. So it could be you could start using AI to do research. You could say, here's a website, go and find out about Rocketeer Rich. Go and research. Thank you. Just get that in there. You could go and research the company, and you could ask Gemini or ChatGPT to give you that summary. That might save you a couple of hours, and you might be able to use that time in a much more strategic way. So I think it's about just getting hands-on. Don't be afraid of it. Everyone's learning, so you're in the same boat of everyone else, but you've got a choice. I see this as a wave of opportunity, and it's either going to wipe you out, or you basically pick up your surfboard and you ride it, and that's just what we've been doing here at Rocketeer.
So just tell me more then about Rocketeer and how you do use AI in what you do.
So I use Gemini. So I'd like it if everyone listening stops using Gemini, because Gemini just really belongs to me, because when I'm obviously talking to Gemini, I feel like it's very personal. So yeah, stop using Gemini if you're listening. That's mine. So yeah, joking apart, I will use it if I've got speaking engagements, if I've got slides to create, if I've got a question. I'm using it as a business partner. I'm using it as an expert. And in fact, what we're building at Rocketeer is a little mini crew Shout out to Sarah who came up with that idea in what to call it. And this little crew is we've got these little agents. So we've got a platform, which is our business coaching platform. So when I spoke previously about all of the programs and the work we've done teaching business, we've put that into a blueprint and a program. We've trained an AI, which now means it's called a custom AI agent. It now means it's trained on what we've given it, like a document. And if you ask it a question particularly about business growth, or how can I get more leads, how can I use AI, how can I increase the value of my business, it's called Ray for Rocketeer Artificial Intelligence. Ray will answer you based on that information. And so that's one way we're using it, is we're using it to scale and to reach many, many business owners in the UK and eventually around the world to help them grow their businesses with our platform. And then the other way we're using it is we have just been recently commissioned by Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Growth Hub to do 20 AI audits for businesses that apply and are on the high street. And we are creating a free Google AI agent for them to try for 30 days. So we'll do the audit, find out what the business does, understand what their constraints to growth are, come up with a few thoughts and ideas. We'll then give them a report on what we recommend. And we very much talk about cost-effective, easy ways to get started that aren't going to break the bank and aren't too risky and are also safe, because we have to watch out for cyber, as per Jaguar Land Rover's problems at the moment. Some of our traditional business of working with the MOJ was delivering programs to support business owners, and we're very pleased to be working with Staffordshire County Council. We've got 2 projects with them. We've got a My Own Boss, and we've got a rural business support program, which is where we provide what you might call the more traditional ways of how can we access more clients, how can we create effective content, how can we make sure our website links in with our email, links in with our newsletter, links in with our SEO. So we're providing that type of service. And then we've also, as I say, working with Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent Growth Hub, and also Stafford Borough Council. We're doing a project called Ignite and Thrive for startups. So people that, again, are looking to grow and expand their business.
And do you go into educational establishments as well?
We've actually worked with an organisation called the Prisoners Education Trust in the past, where we were commissioned to create some distance learning courses. And they still today get sent into prisons where we've got students requesting our courses. They're certified by the Institute of Enterprise and Entrepreneurs, so it's great we've got that certification. So although that's some of our more historic work, more recently I've been asked to go in and speak as a keynote speaker, so I'm at Birmingham Newman University quite soon. We've also done some work with Wolverhampton University. I was privileged to be on their panel when they launched their AI and cyber aspect of what they do at the university, so that was fascinating, and we're about to work with some of their businesses as well.
Couple of questions before you go, Richard. First one is, where do you see, I know you've said AI, it's forever changing, fast, non-stop. Where do you see it in the future, say in the next few years, 5 years?
So as I said earlier, it's only ever going to get better at what it does, so it's as dumb today as it's ever going to be. I think it's important to remember that. I'm not enough of a techie expert really to make any guesses. All I would say is it's only going to keep improving and getting more efficient and being able to support us more. So I think there is going to be a role for many businesses, many different ways of life for AI to support us. I would also like to just add as a caveat that there is an alternative to AI. And the other extreme to AI is being called IPL. And IPL is in-person live. And there is actually becoming a premium on actually meeting and us being together as humans and doing that old thing called just having a chat. So, us being here now today, this could have been done online, but it's not. We've met. We felt that it was going to work better for you and for me in person live. So I think it's important to just make that point that for some people, you can still embrace, human connectivity, and I think there is going to be a value for that moving forward. But yeah, it's big, it's here, it's not a fad, it's not going away, so embrace it.
And one last question, if that's okay, Richard. Can you give just, if it's one or two, it doesn't matter, a real big top tip for any business out there which is still not using AI?
Okay, this is going to sound really counterintuitive after what we've just talked about. The biggest top tip for a business owner is two. Number one, you need to know your numbers. Mm-hmm. There is something that I call the secret ratio. And the secret ratio is an economic determinant of how successful your business is going to be. So when I do my business coaching, I don't go in and try and be clever. I will go in and ask facts. Mm-hmm. When I get those facts, then I understand and know where the problem is and where we can help the business. So knowing your numbers is so important. I worked with 98 business owners in the last 12 months. I know that number because I was just short of 100, which was a bit disappointing. Anyway, 98 people, and only 2 could tell me quite a lot new revenue, but you'd be surprised how many didn't know even how much money was coming in. They needed to ask their accountant. Hardly any knew their cost of goods sold, how much it costs you to deliver your product. Yep. None knew their customer acquisition costs, and none knew how much a client's worth over their lifetime for gross profit. And yet they are the figures that determine, and you can tweak to be successful. So number one, I'd say don't get distracted by AI, because you could have bigger issues that need solving first. Yeah. And then the second thing I would say is then just get hands-on and start seeing how AI can help you to save money, whether it is doing your own marketing rather than paying someone else to do it, or whether it's going to become a core part of your business model. But I would just say just get hands-on and use it. And then if you are going to ask for help, think about the person that you're asking. Mm-hmm. Because if you go to someone that deals in natural medicine, if you've got an illness, they're going to recommend some type of natural homeopathy. If you go to a consultant that likes to cut people open, there's a good chance they're going to recommend an operation. So just bear in mind that if you go and ask someone for their advice, you do need to think about what their skills are, because it could be slightly skewed as to how they can help you. Yeah.
Richard, thank you so much for coming here on Business Spotlight. I wish you all the best for the future and all your keynote speaking that you've got coming up. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Richard Wood, CEO of Rocketeer Group, here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.